Good morning. This is G, also known as J. See here, I'm pulling into the bee barn in Paducah, Kentucky. This is where I picked up my new colony. And they've been holding the bees for me for a couple of weeks until I got my Flow Hive 2 delivered. And I'm fixing to go inside and pick up my bees. And here we see I've arrived at the hive at our new home. And my significant other is operating the camera for me. I'm currently wearing a full bee suit, and for what it's worth, I thought I was going to die. It was so hot that day. We had a heat index of over 105 degrees on this particular day. But gathering all of my necessary items, including the new colony, which you'll see in a minute, I have stored inside of a mesh laundry bag in case a few escaped during the hour drive from the bee barn to my new hive. I don't have any footage of the assembly of the hive. I do recommend, if you opt to use a Flow Hive 2, watch the numerous videos on YouTube about the assembly, because the instructions were rather lacking in my particular kit. Once you get started though, it goes together pretty simple. Again, I've got a full suit on, and now I'm just removing the bag from the new colony. For those not in the know, a new colony consists of 5 frames, marked queen, and a few thousand bees. In my particular hive, I placed a feeder frame which holds a gallon of equal mix sugar and water to kind of help give the bees a good start. And the hive is placed, as you can see, I use 4 paving stones just to give a nice firm foundation. And that's the way I went with my particular hive. And now I'm in the process of lighting my smoker. I have some crumpled up newspaper in there. And this particular day, for whatever reason, maybe it's humidity, I'm not sure, but I had a really difficult time, as you'll see in the video, keeping my smoker going. But currently lit. Now I'm going to open the box. The box is just simply held closed with some duct tape. And you could hear the bees inside the box. They're making quite the commotion. I'm sure they're ready to get out after this long hour ride from the bee barn to the hive. And at this point my smoker had gone out, so I had to relight it again. I want to try to keep my bees as calm as I can, given the events of the day. Okay, and I place my smoker near the entrance of the hive. That way, as it smolders, then smoke will slowly enter the hive as I'm adding the frames, and kind of help to keep the bees relatively calm. Which, as I find out, they did quite well. They were doing pretty well until the very end. Give them a little bit of smoke to get them away from the edges of the frame so I don't accidentally mash any of my bees. This is my first time using a smoker, and I have to say it was pretty neat to see how quickly the bees move with just a slight little puff of smoke. Here I'm separating some of my frames to prepare to place the 5 frames from my new colony into the hive, into the brood box of the hive rather. Here I'm using a little bit of smoke to move the bees away from the edges of the frame, because the frames, just like once they're in the hive, are kind of glued down. The bees will use tree sap to seal everything And that includes even in the new colony box. And I've placed my first frame into the new brood box. And like I said earlier, the smoker did not want to stay lit very well, so I opened the lid and gave it several puffs to kind of help get it caught back up. Now I'm giving the next frame a little puff of smoke to keep the bees from getting accidentally mashed as I pry the frames loose. And there's, and again, puff of smoke on the end to keep them out of the way so they don't accidentally get mashed. And the second frame is now in. And it's simple lather, rinse, repeat. Use a little bit of smoke to get the bees out of the way. There you go. And place them in the hive. I realized I had 2 additional frames, too many, that I forgot to remove before I left this morning. So I'll just set those to the side to make room for the new frames. Give a little puff of smoke so the bees don't get mashed. I did learn after this initial instance with the bees, I would have been perfectly fine without a bee suit. They're surprisingly calm. Now I'm making sure my frames are all nice and even, or touching and even on the ends. Now I'm standing here wondering why it's so hot. I'm going to have to light my smoker again. This time I've gotten all the frames out of the new colony box, but there are still a significant number of bees inside the box. So I'm going to try to coax the bees out with a little bit of smoke. And most of them came out. There were still a few that were relatively reluctant to leave the hive, so give them a little shake to convince them to come out of the box. My cameraman was taking a few pictures as well. You can kind of see a few bees from time to time flying up near the window. Now it's time to fill the feeder frame with the equal mixture of sugar water. And the lid just snaps into place.